I'm making the chicken soup from my cookbook, Eat Jewish. Now, I've made this chicken soup with you guys many, many times. And one of the interesting things about putting it in the cookbook is that for the first time ever, I actually had to measure everything. And let me tell you, measuring chicken soup, not easy. In the book, I also have a recipe for my schmaltz matzo balls. And if you're wondering what those are right there, those are egg noodles. They're so perfect for Pesach, for Passover, but they're really delicious year-round. My father-in-law always makes them, and that's why I really wanted to put them in the book. And of course, besides this beautiful picture, look at this one. Isn't this so special? And we have that same picture on the back of the book. Now, everybody makes their chicken soup a little bit different, so this is how I make mine. I would love to hear your little tricks when you make your soup. I've got everything laid out, so I'm just gonna show you what we've got here. Parsnips, turnips, carrots, zucchini. I love zucchini in my chicken soup. Now, this is controversial for some people, but I prefer celery root over celery. I just don't like the way that celery, the texture of it when it cooks, so I use celery root, which really reminds me more of turnips. I use a whole onion with the skin on. The skin actually gives the broth beautiful, beautiful color, and also the flavor is delicious. And then we just take the onion and discard it. I actually squeeze it out to make sure I get all the flavor out of it. Besides this whole onion, you're also gonna put a chopped onion into the soup. And then I like to use these cheesecloth bags because it makes it easier to remove everything from the soup once it's done. So we've got dill and parsley, and I actually put the onion in one of these cheesecloth bags, and I put the chicken in a cheesecloth bag. That way I can pull it out when the soup is done. I can shred it up and put it right back in the soup. And I actually really like to use pargiyot. You can use chicken on the bone, but it's just more annoying to shred because you have to go through all the bones. So you could just add a little bag of chicken bones if you have it. But the beautiful thing about pargiyot is they just never dry out. All the veggies go in the pot. So maybe I should have gotten a bigger pot because I used a little bit more than what I wrote in the book. Just know that when you follow the actual measurements, it's gonna fit into one of these big boys. Now you're gonna add a ton of kosher salt. If you would like, you can also add onion soup mix. This one I have from Israel, but you can also make the one in my book if you don't have access to a good onion soup mix. I'm gonna cover this with water and put it on the stove to simmer for 4 to 6 hours. So we're gonna bring the water to a boil and then lower this so we can simmer, and definitely cover the pot. I think I'll be able to cover this pot. The chicken soup is done. Look how that liquid reduces. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let it cool a little bit, and then I can remove the chicken and the onions and the herbs, separate everything, and then put it all back together. I've separated the chicken. I have the onion and herbs in here. All that juice in the bottom is gonna go right back into the pot. I like a lot of vegetables in here, and actually this freezes really well with the vegetables in the broth. You can use a fork or you can use a food processor to shred up your chicken. I just put on some gloves. We're gonna take off the cheesecloth and then shred up your chicken. I actually don't like it too finely shredded. I like when you're eating soup and you get like big pieces like this. But see how, like, if you use chicken on the bone, then you really have to go through and pick through the bones. And when it's like this, maybe not as hot because then you don't burn yourself, then it's just so easy. You shred it right up and you add it right back into the broth. And there you have it. That's the chicken soup. I'm gonna add some matzo balls later to this. And you can cut the veggies as big or as small as you want. I like my soup to be full of veggies and full of chicken in every single bite. I've got a small pot of the chicken soup with matzo balls ready to go and 2 containers to go in the freezer.